Hello and welcome to the Education on Fire podcast. The place where we share creative and inspiring learning in our schools. Season 4, Episode 46. Hello and welcome back to the Education on Fire podcast with me, Mark Taylor. Today's episode is all about my journey to Manchester at the beginning of October 2017 when I went to the Music and Drama Education Expo. It was a great event, and a big thanks to Alex Stevens and Sarah Canby, who very kindly said I could come along and interview some of the people there and give you an idea of the sorts of things which are available. There were some fantastic CPD hands-on events, as well as a great selection of exhibitors and lots of people from music hubs and specialist music teachers as well as classroom teachers as well. The day really started with a swing, really. It was Karen Gibson who started us off with a gospel warm-up, and it just got everyone in the mood for a really exciting and fun-packed event, as well as the great information that everyone had. So you'll hear me chatting to some of the exhibitors and people that were there. Don't worry if you don't catch all their information. If you go to educationonfire.com, search for episode 46, on the show notes we'll have details of all their websites, all their contact details, all the sorts of things that you can do, as well as a direct link to the Music and Drama Education Expo website as well, where you can get all sorts of resources and things that are available. So if you really like what you hear, next year they've got two events already planned, the 22nd and 23rd of February in London, Olympia. That's 2018, so you can already book those. They're free tickets. Just go online and you can get hold of those. And the Manchester one, with so many people that were excited about being there, was so popular that they're booking next year in October 2018 in Old Trafford. So there's going to be a real chance to really expand and get even more people jumping around and really enjoying and getting the full feeling of what it's like to be involved in music and drama in this country, which is absolutely brilliant. So I hope you really enjoy listening to this episode. As I said, any details that you need, go to educationonfire.com and search for episode 46, where the show notes will have all the information you need. Thanks for listening. So I'm now with Stuart Burns, who's Head of Programmes and Operations for Orchestras For All. Thanks very much for joining me.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Can you tell us a little bit about what Orchestras For All is and how schools can get involved?
So Orchestras For All aims to unlock access to the life-changing experience of making music together. And we do that through 3 programs. So we run the National Orchestra For All, which is the world's only national non-auditioned youth orchestra. Young people are nominated every year to take part by their music teachers for showing dedication and commitment to music in the face of challenging circumstances. And they take part in a year-long season of residential courses. We run the Modulo program. This is a program to kickstart ensemble music making in schools and communities. We provide resources for music teachers in schools where there might not be that much ensemble music taking place. And the groups come together for regional and national meetup days to give young people the opportunity to play in ensembles together. And our third program is Conductors for Change. It's a training program to give music teachers, Perry staff, Hub staff, the chance to develop ensemble leadership skills to be able to set up and run effective, accessible ensemble music making opportunities.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit more about the actual resources that are available and how that supports the teachers.
Sure. So for the Modulo program, once teachers sign up, they get access to our online virtual learning environment, which has 4 years worth of our bespoke arrangements. So we work with a team of in-house arrangers to create fully accessible arrangements of classical music and music from lots of different genres. And as part of the Conductors for Change program, we're going to be running some online modules that prospective conductors can take part in to learn lots of different skills around setting up and running accessible ensemble music making opportunities.
Great. And in terms of standards and ability, does it range from beginner ensembles literally sort of up to grade 1 and beyond, or is there a standard that you need to enter at?
Absolutely no standard required. So we work, all of our arrangements work for musicians from pre-grade 1 up to post-grade 8. And because we work with in-house arrangers, teachers can come to us and say, oh, I've got these young people in my school who have these specific support needs or specific kind of access requirements, and we can create bespoke parts for them.
Fantastic, and that's the thing that you need as a teacher, but you never quite know where to go to. So it sounds like you're really sort of ticking all those boxes in terms of really helping that out. So in terms of cost and what the school would need to invest in order to do that, what's the range of prices for that?
So for the modulo program, to take part for a year costs £250 per school, and that covers access to all of the resources, both past and present, and access to the regional and national modulo meets. But obviously we are very conscious that not all schools have a great deal of money, so there are definitely kind of financial bursaries available for schools who would benefit from this the most.
Great. And what sort of venues do you do your sort of regional and national meets? What sort of experience do the children get when they get to perform?
So performance is an incredibly important part of all of the work that we do, and we try as much as we can to create quite impactful and inspiring performance opportunities. Previous performances have taken place here in Manchester at the Bridgewater Hall, at the South Bank Centre in London, and we try to use sort of high-profile venues in local areas as much as possible.
Yeah, so they really feel like we're going to really do something special and get the excitement of all of that as well. And I quite like that opportunity. We're used to performing in school, we're used to performing into our school hall. Where do we go beyond that? And that sounds like you really sort of enable that to happen.
Exactly, and some of the young people we work with may never have played in an orchestra before, or, as you say, may have only played in their school assembly before. Yeah. So it gives them a chance to go outside of their school environment, see a different part of their city or a different part of the UK, and crucially to meet other like-minded young musicians who equally love to play in an ensemble together.
Yeah, fantastic. And so I guess also it doesn't really matter how big your ensemble is in your school, because when you're then doing it as a massed ensemble, either regionally or nationally, you can just come together and then you fit the whole thing together as a large orchestra.
Precisely. For the modulo program, generally modulos are between 4 and 8 players. We have some schools that have ensembles of 20 or so, but it just means that really any size of group can come and take part in this program.
Brilliant.
It's very flexible.
Fab. Well, thanks so much for chatting to me. It sounds like a really, really exciting project, and wish you well with it. And all the links and everything will be on the educationonfile.com website, so they can find you and click through and hopefully get lots of people signing up.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Led by Snape Maltings and born out of the Benjamin Britten centenary, Friday Afternoons is about encouraging young people to sing their newly commissioned songs and support material aimed at helping teachers develop their students' skills as performers, listeners and composers. All resources are available free on their website, and I'm chatting to Emily Barden, who's the project manager of Friday Afternoons. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, can you give us a little bit of background about what Friday Afternoons is and what the project's all about?
So, Friday Afternoons was born out of Benjamin Britten writing a set of songs for his brother's school children to sing. He would have been 100 in 2013, and so to celebrate that centenary, all of those Friday Afternoon set of songs were made available for free on a website, fridayafternoonsmusic.co.uk. It was only supposed to go that far. It was supposed to be a one-year project, but it was so successful, and so many of the children across the country, and in fact all over the world, ended up singing the songs. We thought it was too good a project to leave there, so every year since have commissioned new composers to be inspired by the Britten set of songs and write new Friday Afternoon songs, all of which you can now download from our website, and it's a freely available resource.
That's amazing. And so the songs that have been created by new composers, how do you come across the composers you want to use? Do they apply, or are there people that you know about already?
We try and do a mix of established names and also encourage emerging up-and-coming composition talent. So we, in 2014, got 12 different composers to take a traditional folk song and rearrange it, again, sort of a la Britten, so with really complex and interesting piano parts, but with singable melodies on the top. And from there, we sort of talent spotted a few different people and asked more people to do some stuff. So we got a fantastic set in 2015 from Nico Mooley, which are a beautiful set of songs. Then we got Jonathan Dove, who's a very well-known name, to do 2016's set of songs, which have just been a fantastic success. They've been sung all over the place. Really, really singable songs. And then for 2017, we've had Luke Stiles and Alan McKendrick working together. They've been working on an opera project. Alan's a librettist and Luke is a composer, and they've written a really exciting set of songs, and it feels a bit more operatic. It feels like it's really thematic, so it's looking at the adult world through a child's eyes. So these songs are nonsensical and whimsical and interesting, and I think a really great point for creative work to be started.
Yeah, and it just sounds like this whole organisation, it just gives teachers a new set of resources they haven't come across before. And as we were saying, the fact that they're free means that, you know, it's something that's not going to come out of a school budget, and also they're fantastic as well. So you have a combination of all of those elements.
Absolutely. And also the fact that they are free and online means that if you want to link with other schools, it's really easy for you to just say, okay, well, let's do X, Y and Z songs. Everybody learns them in their own environment and then comes together at a central point to perform. Another thing that we absolutely encourage is creative responses. So it might be that you take one of the existing songs and think, okay, well, what would I do with the same theme? Or what would I do if I took this set of lyric? How could we make this a different song? Or what would happen if you tried to do an R&B version of this song? How might that work? And then again, to get together with other people and share those responses makes some really interesting projects.
So it really is the epitome of creativity, isn't it? You have the resources that you can just start with, but from there you can really go in any direction that you really want to.
Absolutely. And on the website there is a showcase section where you can, if you're looking for a bit of inspiration, you don't quite know what you want to do, on Showcase lots of other people have uploaded what they've done, so you can get a little bit of an idea of things that you can do. So there's a fantastic sort of hip-hop Abram Brown on there, and all sorts of other versions of songs that people have uploaded.
Fantastic. And you would show me through your website as well, there's also a section where you can actually pinpoint where you're doing your work in your school on a map, so that you can actually see the selection of schools that are involved, and it really is sort of a true sort of community event.
Absolutely. Our tagline is Join Our World of Song, and it really does do that. If you look at the map, you can see that there's activity going on across the globe, all using Friday afternoons. It's also nice to know which schools in your area might already be involved in this project, because you could perhaps link up with them and get some inspiration from them.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for chatting to me. And so the best place to go is fridayafternoonsmusic.co.uk, or you can also follow on Twitter, which is @FridaysPMS.
Absolutely, and we would welcome new visitors all the time.
Fantastic, lovely. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So I'm now here talking to Tom, who's from Tom & Wheel Distribution, and he's got a whole selection here of plastic woodwind instruments. Can you tell us a little bit about what they are and how they work and how they fit into schools?
Okay, thank you. So the Nuvo plastic woodwind instrument range ranges in price from $24.99 up to $165. We cover the basics for flute-style instruments and clarinet-style instruments. We have a range of products available and lots of fun colours to attract kids. We are also completely waterproof and very durable, so where other instruments might break, ours will bounce first.
Yeah, so it's really good that the durability is important, isn't it, when you're in school?
Yes, we find so, especially at our price points as well. Comparable instruments from traditional materials would just be bent beyond belief.
And you were just mentioning before that they're all in concert pitch, so in terms of putting an ensemble together, that's a really good starting point for everybody.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, that's right. Everything we make is in concert pitch, so it's dead easy to integrate with classroom music making, violins, flutes, recorders, ukulele, everything.
Fantastic. So if people want to find out a little bit more about it, where's the best place for them to go and check it out?
Okay, well, they can see the entire range of instruments on the UK website clarineo.co.uk, and also the manufacturer's website nuvoinstrumental.com. And we have a further resource website, the Nuvo Windstars website.
Fantastic, and we'll have all those links on the show page so that you can just go to educationonfire.com and click through the links there.
Super, thank you.
Pleasure, thank you. Hello, I'm in Manchester with Joe May, and we're at the Music and Drama Expo. And Joe's doing a workshop today on spoons. And Joe is somebody that I've known for many years, back from our college days of playing the drums and percussion. So welcome to the podcast, Joe.
Hello.
So first of all, tell us a little bit about how you became to be someone actually doing a workshop at this event.
Well, I'm a percussionist, obviously, and I got into playing the spoons a few years ago. And I do quite a lot of spoons workshops in schools and for various festivals and events. And I saw that this event was happening and put in an application. And I got accepted. I did actually do a session at the London Music and Drama Education Expo last year, I think it was. So, yeah, I have done one of the a similar event in the
Fantastic.
past.
And you can hear in the background there seems to be someone practicing an organ or a keyboard or something, which has only literally just started. So if you can hear all the background noise, that's what it is. We're actually at the expo here in the Hilton in Manchester. So there's lots of people around and lots of people demonstrating things. So yes, you can be part of the whole atmosphere here as we actually do it. So Jo and I are going to chat a little bit about the kind of workshops that she does, and then she's going to give me a demonstration of how to play the spoons. And hopefully there'll be enough information in there after I've tried to do them myself for you to have a go at home maybe, or even with some people in your school. So let's first talk about when you go into schools. Do you do it for a whole class? Do you do it for a small group? What's the kind of setup?
Generally, I'd see a class at a time, but I have worked with small groups, and I have worked with larger groups. I have seen sort of 100 or so children at once as well, very occasionally. But generally, I'll go and see a class at a time. Very often we start the day with a bit of an introduction demonstration in an assembly, really, just for everybody, just to give them an idea of what they're going to be doing. And then I'll see the classes throughout the day. Great.
And I would imagine that they absolutely love it. What's sort of the reaction when they realise this is what they're going to be doing?
Quite well, a mix of reactions, actually. Sometimes shock, sometimes... Usually lots of smiling faces, though, which is great. Yeah, really good.
And do you find that some kids are sort of got more dexterity than others and pick it up faster than others, or is it something that everyone can really have a go at?
Definitely everyone can have a go. But yes, I mean, people do find, some people find it really easy, some people find it tricky, so it is a mixture. But I think whatever, wherever your ability level is, everyone can have a go, and, generally everyone has a lot of fun with it as well. So, yes.
Fantastic. And who would you actually take your workshops to? You go around all the way around the UK, or is there specific areas that you generally target?
I suppose I'm targeting more the Midlands, where I live now. But, I mean, I go anywhere, really. Yeah.
So how long typically would your workshop last for? Is it sort of an hour, that sort of length, or do you have a different kind of setup?
It really varies depending on what the school wants. Quite often the school will want me to see as many classes as possible, just to give everyone a little taster, really. So sometimes it'll only be 30-minute sessions. Sometimes it'll be an hour or so, which is great.
And the flexibility is great for the school, isn't it? Because then you can fit into their timetable and
yes, absolutely,
around breaks and
can,
lunches and all that.
Yes,
sort of thing.
It's not a set length. I can you can tailor it to what people want, really.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the spoons themselves. What do they have to be? Metal? Can they be wood? I mean, what do they have to be made of? Can you just literally go to your cutlery drawer and take out a spoon and have a go?
Pretty much, yeah. I've actually got a suitcase of spoons that I carry around to schools. I've got lots of metal ones, which are generally just the kind of spoons that you'd find in your cutlery drawer. They do vary. The more curvy spoons don't work so well, because when you're holding the spoons, there needs to be a gap between them so you can actually get a sound when you play.
Yeah.
So if you've got the curvier spoons, sometimes it's harder to get that gap. And again, different size spoons, it'll vary. To be honest, it's a question of trying them out a lot of the time. But sometimes the straighter spoons work better. But if you've got a deeper bowl, you get a better sound.
So it's that compromise between the sort of sound you might want as opposed to what actually physically works with your hands and what you can actually do. And I guess for primary schools, you need slightly smaller spoons or... To
be honest, sometimes the smaller spoons are harder to hold because some of the other spoons... I've got a bag of teaspoons. I've got some small wooden spoons from an Indian cookery shop. And actually, people don't tend to use those so much because they're a bit trickier to hold on to. I think sometimes slightly bigger ones are easier to hold. But I've also got some wooden ones that are made specially for playing, which have got grooves in. So when you put them back to back and hold on to them, they've actually got like a little finger hole. So they're good.
Fantastic.
And I've got some plastic measuring spoons that I tried out in the back of a kitchen shop, which worked quite well. And also, you can get some joined up spoons, which are great for the younger children. So I've got wooden ones and metal ones of those.
So do you literally find yourself hunting as you go around the high street just on a Saturday afternoon, just sort of keeping your eyes out for your next set that you think is going to work?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, I could just about, that's fantastic. I could just about picture you doing that. Going around. Everyone else is looking for the next top for the evening, and you've got your eye on the kitchen shop.
Antique shops are pretty good, actually. Yeah, my favourite spoons came from an antique shop.
Fantastic. And they're sat here on the table here, and Joe's going to give me a lesson.
Yeah.
So we're going to see how that works, and she's going to take me through the basic ideas of how to hold it and make some different sounds. And hopefully, if you're enjoying it, you can it'll be step by step, so you can try it at home as well, and see if you can do it probably after you've listened to this. But hopefully there'll be a few steps, and what we'll do is we'll put those steps on the educationonfire.com show page with the podcast as well. So if we just keep it down to a few simple steps, maybe people can then see it and work their way through and see if they can get a sound. And then I'm gonna take a little Facebook live video, I think, of Joe demonstrating it as well, so you'll also be able to see those different steps. I think that's probably a really good idea, and then you can have a go yourself and see how you get on. So we're going to have a go at playing the spoons, and Joe's going to give me some step-by-step lessons of what to do. So off you go then, Joe. What do I need to do to start?
Okay, so we've both got 2 spoons in our hand. Best to hold them in the strongest hand, and they go back to back. And then you're going to put your first finger in between the spoons, the thumb on the top, and 3 fingers underneath. So the spoons become a bit like an extension of your arm, really.
Yeah.
For anyone who's listening and can't see what we're doing, your spoons are coming out the end of your hand, end of your arm.
In fact, I'm going to literally take a phone call, take a picture of that now, so we can actually see what that looks like. Brilliant. So we've taken a picture of that, so you can actually go and look at it online and see how it is as well. But basically, there's a gap between the 2 ends of the spoon, so that when you hit them together, they will then make a noise, and they're being held on the shaft of the spoons.
Yeah. And it's quite a tight grip, otherwise the spoons will come apart. So then the first thing we need to do is just to make sure that if you tap your hand or your leg, you're actually getting a sound. So try that. Okay, that sounds good.
Right.
Might need to hold a little bit tighter at the back.
Yep.
Just to avoid the clicking, but that sounds really good.
There we go.
Right.
Success to begin with.
Fantastic. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hold the spoons over our legs and then put our other hand over the top so that we can play the spoons between our leg and our hand. So that the top hand's going to stay still and the spoons are literally just going to move up and down. Okay. You're a natural. Okay, that's sounding good. So a rhythm that I use quite a lot, you've got your hands in the same position and you're just missing out one of those beats that we were playing just now. So we're going leg, leg, hand, leg, leg, hand, leg, leg, hand, leg, leg, hand, leg. If you want to, you can move from one leg to the other.
Easier for someone else.
And then after a little bit of practice, you can speed it up. And it's actually quite a nice rhythm that fits to a lot of different styles of music, really, that kind of thing. Should we try some rolls?
Yeah, that's how we go.
Okay, so I call them rolls. They sound a little bit like drum rolls. So what we're going to do, with our other hand, we're going to spread the fingers out. The fingers are really quite straight and apart. And then you're going to hold that hand over your leg, not touching your leg, just above your leg. And your fingers are quite stiff, and you've made a bit of a funny shaped ladder with your fingers, really, over your leg. And then you hold the spoons at the top of your fingers and just run them down and land on your leg at the bottom. That's it. So the stiffer you can get your fingers, the better this tends to work. Yeah. And the other thing is to not push too hard. If you push too hard, the spoons get stuck and it doesn't work. So very gentle. You can also go from your thumb if you want to, do a bit of a semicircle. Or you can run down the backs of your fingers if you want.
That's just starting to show off.
It just hurts a bit more.
It's a great sound, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it's really nice. Shall I show you the wooden ones as well?
Yeah, let's hear the difference between the metal and the wooden.
You can hear the wooden ones.
That's a great, different sound, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah. So what we could do is we could put together the two things that we've done so far, the roll and then the playing between your hand and your leg. So if we do the little roll onto your leg to start with, as you get to the end of that, you turn your hand over, ready so you can play against it. So we're going to go roll, leg, hand, leg, leg. 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 Roll. That's it. Brilliant. Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Well, there you are. There's the first lesson of how to play the spoons while we're actually at the expo. So having mastered that in some form or another, thanks very much for showing me those bits. Joe's now just going to give us a little bit of a demonstration of what is possible with much more practice. Anyway, take it away then, Joe.
Okay.
Brilliant, that's absolutely fantastic. There's so many notes in there. It's amazing how that comes off. Brilliant stuff. So if you've been inspired by all of this and you'd like to have a spoons workshop in your school, so Joe, tell us, what's the best way of people getting in contact with you? How can they find out more about it for themselves?
Probably best through my website actually, which is www.joemaypercussion.co.uk.
Fabulous. So joemaypercussion.co.uk.
And Joe May is just Jomay.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
And what sort of stuff have you got on there? Have you got details of the workshops and pricing and all of that sort of thing as well?
Yep, there's details of the workshops, pricing if you just get in touch, because sometimes I work with a fiddle player, sometimes I work by myself, and different lengths. So just get in touch about that.
Make it fit for each school.
Yeah. And I bring lots of spoons. I've got a suitcase full of spoons that I bring to each school, so you don't need to provide them.
Fantastic. So you haven't got to send a letter home from school saying please bring in the dessert spoon or please bring in the breakfast spoon.
But you're welcome to if you want to do that. That's great.
If a child has a favourite spoon they'd like to try and do, they can actually do that as well. Fantastic. Well, thanks very much for chatting to me today.
Thank you.
I really look forward to your workshop this afternoon.
Great. I'm looking forward to it too. Should be fun.
See if I might get a little bit of Facebook Live on there to be able to just see
exactly
what
really
it is that's going on.
That'd be really good.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So I'm now here with Stephen Huckle, who's the director of Unistage, and I know lots of people have in their school hall, they've got staging they need, and Unistage can be a bespoke stage organisation that can actually give you exactly what you want, and you can build it up from just literally one small part of staging, and he said almost to a football stadium, so it can be anything that you need. So I thought it'd be a really interesting thing for you to listen to, exactly how you can get exactly what you need for your hall rather than just actually having to make do with maybe what you've got, or if you're looking to replace it with some new things, this might be a really good place to start. So welcome. Thanks very much for being on the podcast.
Yes, great to visit us here at the Music and Drama Show in Manchester.
Fabulous. So can you give us a little bit of history about the company and how long you've been going?
Yes, the company was formed in 1999. It was an idea that I had for a multifunctional staging. The reason why we called it Unistage, because it's so universal. It can be used as staging, it can be used as staging podia, it can be used as display units for the craft fairs for the children, it can be used as gold, silver and bronze, first, second and third, or gold, silver and bronze, as I say, for sports day. So it's a great podium and great for ceremony giving for the winners of the competitions, because you've got the three different heights, predominantly three different heights, which is 180mm, then to 360 and to 540. And if you arrange them in the right way, then you will get the gold, silver, bronze.
Absolutely,
which is a great podium.
Fantastic. And you were saying that you have people contacting you who literally just have to extend the stage that they have already, maybe, or they have a certain space they need to fit into. So is it just a question of contacting you and you can then design exactly what they need?
That's right, yes. We've got a standard range of products which is in our catalogue and on our website. So you can choose to use any array of sizes you want. We have got standard sizes, a set 12, a set 24, a set 18, 15, up to set 60. Even, you can go as high as you want. As you say, you mentioned a football field, so we can stage it anything that you want. But we're predominantly, because we manufacture the product, we also get a lot of requirements for staging for churches also, and for village halls, where they've got a certain size, a certain wall to wall, and we've got so many different arrangements and frame sizes that we can either arrange something that will sit there, or we'll bespoke it for them to go around a particular dais with a church or a podium, etc. So again, that's the beauty of our product. It's universal and we can fit it wherever you want.
Fantastic. And where's the best place for them to come and look at your website? I see down there it's unistage.co.uk.
Yes, www.unistage.co.uk, yes.
Fantastic. Many thanks for chatting to me.
No problem, thank you.
I'm now joined by Matt Crossy, Director, the School Musicals Company Limited. Very nice to meet you.
And you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Can you give us a little bit of an idea of what what your company's about and what it is that you're offering here?
Yep, we're a very new company. So we launched in January of this year with a mission to develop really engaging musicals for predominantly upper key stage 2, lower key stage 3, and also for youth theatre and drama groups. So taking great stories with engaging characters, lots of great parts, and up to date with it songs that kids are actually really going to enjoy performing, and teachers will enjoy teaching.
And that's the most important thing, isn't it? Having fun, just really
having fun. Absolutely, yeah.
And so, what sort of stories and what sort of musicals do you cover?
Well, so far we have released 6 musicals. We started, our first one was called Paws and Claws, which is actually really a version of Romeo and Juliet, but with a group of cats and a group of dogs, and one of the cats falls for the dog, and that was really popular. Then we worked with Great Ormond Street, who owned the rights for Peter Pan, to do a version of Peter Pan going back to the original version, so not the Disney-fied thing, and that's Fantastic, which has been our most successful musical. It's been performed all over the country and just seems to be gathering legs. We just keep hearing of shows all the time. Then we did Dr. Dolittle and the Monkey Mayhem, so looking at one of Hugh Lofting's original stories for Dr. Dolittle. I would just say that's a romp, brilliant for boys. Lots of our musicals have raps in them to engage boys. And then we started on Christmas. Actually, we started on Christmas just after launching the company. Right. So, and we have one nativity for early years written by a very well-known writer called Nikki Davis, who's joined us as a writer. Follow the Star, which is a lovely, lovely piece for 4 to 7s. And then Tom and myself have written a Christmas musical called the Amazing Advent Calendar, which is about a slightly disgruntled boy who isn't given a chocolate advent calendar. He's given an old-fashioned paper one by his grandparents. But in the middle of the night, he hears a noise and goes over to it, and he's whisked back 2,000 years, and witnesses the story around the birth of Jesus, but in a non-preachy, more of a historical, fun way.
Yeah, fantastic.
And we're working on new things all the time. So later on this month, we have our Egyptian-themed musical coming out called Who's Your Mummy?, which is about a mysterious mummy that turns up in the British Museum. Nobody knows who she is, and 2 children accidentally bring her back to life by taking a selfie, and the flash brings the mummy back to life. The mummy follows the kids. It's a real kind of fun romp. The songs are great, and people are going to love it.
That's really good. And I can see here you've also got the music and the story and everything, but you've also got CDs as well. So.
Absolutely. So if you don't have a musician, that should not be a barrier. Our CDs come with vocal versions and with really amazingly well-recorded backing tracks. We've invited all sorts of interesting players to perform on our CDs. The chap that does X Factor Judges' Houses has played guitar on Who's Your Mummy. It just adds another dimension. And we're trying to make things sound Well, kids are really sophisticated. Their tastes are sophisticated, and we're trying to cater for them. They want to hear things that sound great.
Fantastic. Sounds really exciting, and I wish you the very best with it.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thanks for chatting to me. So thanks for listening, and I hope you got some great content and some inspiring things to do in your school. Thank you to everybody who was on this podcast and shared the fantastic work that they're doing. And I look forward to maybe meeting you in 2018 at the events in London and Manchester. Thanks for listening to the Education on Fire podcast. For more information of each episode and to get in touch, go to educationonfire.com. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire.